Man in wrestling right here. Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. It ain't no doubt. It ain't no doubt. Flair, bring that old cashmere coat out here. Gee, I love.
Can't help it that I'm custom made. I can't help it that I look good, smell good, can dance all night long.
Welcome to a late night edition of Midday Sports with Rod. You know what I mean? The Brady night, the LeBron fan, super fan, like people like to call me. But I got a special guest today, I got Ray of what podcast you going with today?
No, I'm both. So since we're doing sports, I'm Mr. Ray Bond across all platforms. But the Bond Chronicles is my podcast. My wife and I, we got a couples joint, and then you be tuning into the ASAP where I host the show on Mondays and Thursdays at 9.
Okay. So before we get into the sports, how did you get into podcasting?
It's funny you ask. So the pandemic, like most people, interrupted life. I was sitting home. I'm a guy that loves to talk. I love to debate. And to be perfectly honest, I was sitting home and I was like, me and my wife, we talk a lot. We were talking about a lot of the issues that are going on. Why not? So that's what launched me and her podcast. And then as we were trying to launch that, I ended up in Podcasting While Black group. Introduced myself Freddie introduced me to the ASAP network. I worked my way up. Now I host a show over there, and I like to get into it. So that's kind of what has led me to this.
So how did you work yourself up to get your own show?
Just consistency, being on, having good numbers, accurate takes. One of the things we did on the show was we tracked our picks for the season for the NFL. So just being right, people introducing, and they saw fit to turn the show over to me. And the guy that ran the show, they gave him a new position on a different show. And so, yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? For the audience, I met, you by, a mutual friend, Dev. You know what I mean? I love talking shit to him about them Ravens. So, you know what I mean? That's how I saw your stuff, because he posted it. You know what I mean? I was liking it because, you know what I mean? The chat was fun. And, you know what I mean? I just like hearing sports takes, like, you know what I mean? Like a barbershop feel. I don't like how it is on the ESPN and Fox Network, and so bland, and, you know what I mean? Talk about the same thing every day.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that. I was in a group chat earlier, and they were saying the same thing. Like, we don't really watch. Like, I used to watch Undisputed every day, but over time, like, I just kind of got sick of the banter, sick of the same topics. First Take, I've never been the biggest Stephen A. fan, so a lot of daytime TV or morning TV is tough for sports. So it has definitely opened up a lane for people like you and me.
Yeah, because you know what I mean. We're not, you know what I mean. It's not no chill button for us. You know what I mean. It's nobody going to hit the commercial break, or, you know what I mean. Because at the end of the day, it's not that you know what I mean, commercial. You don't got to worry about nobody stepping on nobody's toes. That's why I like it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I enjoy it. It allows you to, like you said, to get into it, give your real opinion, not what the bosses want you to say. And I say how I feel. So, yeah, man.
So let's get into a couple of things, man. How did your thoughts about the Leon Edwards fight? I think he cheated a little bit. You know what I mean? After I watched the fight again, he did a lot of grabbing of the gloves. Just, you know, he stopped the takedowns. He grabbed the fence a couple times. What was your initial reaction of the, you know what I mean, him getting the, you know what I mean, him getting the decision?
So, in combat sports is a little different for me. Like, I view combat sports different than NBA and NFL. Like, in combat sports, I really think everything's legal unless you get caught. So if you
man,
if you keep holding and the ref keep warning you, and then they take a point, I'm with that. But if you are a veteran in the game and you know how to maneuver and, you know, that's part of the game to me. Like the
Mhm.
veteran savvy, the knowing the ins and outs, the knowing when you can grab, even in like football or other sports, knowing how to play within the rules, I think is as important as anything. So you don't love it, from a legacy standpoint. Usman was I believe projected to be John Jones-ish if he could have kept going. Obviously losing twice is tough. I think at that point now you got to start considering career. Like what's next? Like
He's still number 2 for me. He's still number 2 at that 170. He's number 2.
yeah, but do you want to see him fight Edwards again? It was kind of like Canelo and Triple G. It's like, all right, I've seen this enough. The appetite for it, at least right now, I don't think is that high. I feel like we've seen who the better fighter is, given that one person's won both.
Yeah, I understand that, but you know what I mean. I think this really helped his brand, though. You know what I mean. It took GSP to lose that fight to Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes, not Matt Hughes. Matt Serra, my fault. It took him to lose that fight for people to really understand and love him. You know what I mean? So I really think he should retire because he got no cartilage in his knees. You know what I mean? That is public record. He got no cartilage in his knees. He can't even walk on concrete. He got to walk on grass. That's how bad his knees are. You know what I mean? From wrestling, you know what I mean? From college, from high school, and elementary all the way to high school to college. So he really don't got too much cartilage in his knees. So I'm surprised he held that belt for that long. That's amazing.
And that is combat sports, specifically MMA, is not typically a sport that you get to walk away from. And in recent times, whether it be Jared Hurd or others, like the GSPs, the Anderson Silvas, like the Chuck Liddells, the walk away isn't usually very graceful. So it wasn't like he got knocked out. It wasn't like he got Ronda Rousey or anything. But I just think you got to figure out, if I'm not fighting for championships, what am I fighting for? There's
Nobody want to be the gatekeeper. Nobody want to be the gatekeeper in UFC.
Especially not with reportedly what Dana White pays. So if you ain't even getting that kind of money, like, why am I going to be the measuring stick of the division when I can't go get the title unless by the time they fight again, it could be bad, I think. So I don't necessarily
it's like you remember John Finch? He was the gatekeeper for a lot of years, John Finch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He fought GSP, just didn't work. He got the interim belt. He had to fight GSP, lost the fight. And he was just like the gatekeeper for a long while, man. So, you know what I mean? Nobody want to be the gatekeeper in the UFC. But, you know what I mean? One thing before we got the UFC talk, I think Francis Ngannou is going to I don't think it's going to end well for him.
You think he's going to fight in UFC again?
I don't think so. Dana said it doesn't make sense. But I'm saying for boxing, he's not going to get the money he thinks he's going to get. You're not going to get the Tyson Fury money in the beginning with 0 wins or 0 losses. You know what I mean? So you're not going to get that. So best of luck to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where the shelf life of a UFC fighter in UFC is short. We see that with McGregor. His reign was relatively short. Rousey's was short. Habib was relatively short. If you want to go out with your faculties, and then you got to pivot that, whether it be David Batista and him trying to get into acting or another lane of investment or entrepreneurship. But the fight game isn't really a long-term game. I feel like you're not going to see a champion for 5 years. Like that's just not going to happen the way Tyson Fury or Mayweather or some of these other champions held belt. Terrence Crawford has held the belt for forever. I just don't think that's going to happen in UFC. So you got to maximize your time, and I think that's what Francis is trying to do. I do think, based on how quickly John Jones got rid of his last opponent, I'd be lying if I said I don't think the money's there. I think it's a big fight.
I think what you call John Jones will still be the A side. And
you think he would?
Yeah. And what you call would be the B side?
In name, but we can't just throw away Ngannou like he wasn't the man for a minute. So,
but we got to look at the resume, right? You know what I mean? You got to look at the resume.
I'm with you.
And the people that he went through, like, you know what I mean? Like, you ever had deer? You know what I mean? You ever had deer before?
The meat? Yeah,
the meat. And you know how it's in the, you know what I mean? You put it in the slow cooker. You know what I mean? It gets real moist and soft. That's how he was going through people back in his day. You know what I mean? He was knocking everybody out. He was finishing everybody's. Gustafsson. People said the Gustafsson fight was Gustafsson won. He came back and demolished them. Like, you gotta look at the resumes. I like the Stipe fight. I always thought Gang was not really ready. Anytime I could see Francis get multiple takedowns on you, I knew that was not going to be a good fight for him. John Jones was taking DC to the ground effortlessly. You know what I mean? Easy by ease. You know what I mean? And Daniel Cormier is a bronze medal, you know what I mean, in wrestling. So if he could take him down, you know he's gonna take Game down at will.
So I agree with you. I will say, I don't know. The negotiation piece, I think, if they're going in with the negotiation as John Jones at the A side, coming off, you want to talk a resume, it wasn't like this was the greatest win. And he hasn't had a great win in a long time, even if this one was quick. Mm-hmm. I think if John Jones was to be the A side, I don't know if we ever get that fight. Like, I don't think Dana White is going to.
I think they want the Stipe fight regardless, anyway.
Yeah, but that's not. Do you think that's the bigger money fight?
No, I don't think Stipe's head is really into fighting like that, man. I think, you know what I mean, he's so much worried about his full-time job as a fireman. It's noble what he does in his town, but I don't think he's got that dog in him anymore. You know what I mean?
You know what gives people that dog a lot? Money. Like, pay the people. Mm-hmm. But they be having 13 fights on a card. I'm like, is it quality or quantity?
I still think it's better than a lot of boxing cards. You know what I mean? You look at the fights you got to go through on the undercard, and you know what I mean. And you know what I mean. It's like let me use a mixed martial art reference. It'd be like, you know what I mean. You go to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament and you start seeing all the white belts, but they're not really white belts. They're really purple belts in the white belt division. And you just fighting, you know what I mean, somebody with too much experience. That's the same thing in boxing. Nobody want to fight the tough guys. Everybody's stacking their card, the record up and record up.
Sir, that's outdated. You got to up. Have you been watching? We about to get Benavidez and Plant this weekend.
Man, that's a big fight. Benavidez gonna do him, man. Caleb.
I mean, I agree, but that's the fight you want. Caleb Plant fought Canelo. We got that fight. Even if Canelo won, we got Fury and Wilder 3 times. We got Joshua and Usyk. Like, outside of, we're getting Tank and Garcia. Outside of Crawford and Spence, we getting a lot of the fights these days. So I know that used to be the case with boxing. I don't know that that's the case anymore. I think a lot of these young guns, for better or for worse, they want the smoke. And if promoters will get out the way, and a lot of times between Showtime and ESPN, they have a pretty decent relationship. The Charlo brothers have had some good fights. That was supposed to be a big fight, but he broke his hand. And I forget who won that fight. But he was there at the fight. I just watched it. I can't remember. So now I can't say that no more, man.
But we can say this though, man. I remember when boxing was boxing, right? I'm talking about Mickey Ward versus Gotti 3 times, trilogy fights. It's not that no more. Can we say that?
You got better competition. There's more volume. A lot of those guys kept fighting each other because there was no one else worth fighting.
Yeah, we don't even.
Ford, a warrior, but let's not act like he was a supremely talented boxer. Like
I'm not gonna say that, but can we say that even the divisions were more stacked up?
you think today at 130 when you got Shakur Stevenson, you
Shakur's the dog.
what's the other guy? Devin Haney. You got Lomachenko, I think is still at 130. He still fights. Teofimo moved up to I think 140. So it's some young kids. The Gary Russell, and his group.
I like Boots. I like Boots.
Boots Ennis is another one. Like I don't know that up through, and then even at the heavyweights, obviously I got not Wilder. I got Fury the best, but Usyk, Joshua,
and Cool Boy Fulton is nice too. Cool Boy Fulton.
And he's not fighting this card. He fights on the Davis Carter thing. Like it's a lot of fighters.
But I missed maybe let me say this better. I missed the cruiserweight division. I missed the heavyweight division.
Cruiserweight's down. I cannot there's not a lot there. Bivol, I think, is super welter. I don't know if he's cruiserweight. He can fight. I like him.
That Canelo fight, man, I'm telling you, I was the first one.
He made him look bad.
I was the first one. I put a lot of money on the fight. I ain't gonna lie. I put like 100 and some change on it. I said, man, Canelo's about to get him out of here. The Ginger's about to get him out of there. Man, I was so mad at my ticket, man. I threw it in the trash, man.
Yeah, he just couldn't he couldn't punch through him. Like, and Bivol was talented enough as a boxer, and he just kept coming. And I think that was the first time Canelo faced that. He went up in weight a good amount, and I respect Canelo because he fought Floyd really early in his career before he probably should have. He's fought Triple G. I don't think he won all the fights, but he fought him. Like, he's fought most everybody they've put in front of him. So I'm happy with where boxing is. Obviously, the Crawford Spence fight is the fight everybody wants.
That's the fight of the century.
Outside of that, there's not a lot of fights that haven't got made for me.
I really want to see.
We're getting there.
I want to see the Lomachenko fight versus Haney.
I think that's next. I think that Stevenson, Haney, Lomachenko, one of them three will fight probably the loser, I would think, of Garcia Davis. The winner will start to try and unify. I think the goal from what I see, whether it's at the heavyweight division, at the middleweight division, even at 154, Charlo, it's unified. I think the key now is everybody's trying to unify. So I think hopefully that will force us to get the 147 fight because that'll unify. And the more unified champions we have, I think that's boxing's other issue. They got too many useless champions. Everybody's some champion of something that don't nobody know or care about. It should be 3, maybe 4 belts. WBC, WBO, IBC, and it's one other one. Other than that, all these lineal and like, who cares? Like, either you got one of the main joints or not. Like, all these consolation prizes, I'm not a fan of.
That's why, you know what I mean? That's why, a lot of people get on me because there's a lot of players, a lot of boxers and athletes, people say I hate on. You know what I mean? Stephen Curry, he's on there. Mike's on there. You know what I mean? Klay Thompson's on there.
So you just hate the Warriors. I got you.
Okay. And also Floyd's on there.
Why do you hate Floyd?
There's something about him. I feel like he waited on that fight too long with the Pacquiao fight. It didn't have the same amount of steam on it for me.
Is it about money or fame?
No, I feel like he definitely waited it out. You know what I mean? Where he felt like he got an upper hand. I'm just saying that's what I felt.
I mean, we agree. He did wait. I think Floyd, and I'm a huge Floyd fan, but he's smart. I think he got Canelo early, as he should have. I think he got Cotto and some of the others towards the end. And I definitely think he drew out the Pacquiao fight. I think it would be Pacquiao regardless. After what I saw Marquez do with Pacquiao.
Yeah, that's the best fight I think Floyd ever fought, Marquez.
Right. And so given that, even though that was obviously a younger Floyd, Pacquiao did beat Thurman late in his career, but I just don't know if he would have had the ability to get to beat Floyd. And the fight that I saw did not give me a lot of confidence that even if it was a year earlier, and I know he tore his rotator cuff, allegedly he was hurt, but I just think Floyd's a better boxer.
You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. I feel like, especially that fight, the Sugar Shane Mosley fight, I'm saying that Sugar was really focused. That could have been a different fight, man.
He hit him. Sugar hit him. He caught him flush.
Even Zap.
But you gotta be able to put him down or put him away. Never down, never out.
That's what I'm saying. He was in the right era, man, because we can't arguably say the golden era of boxing was the 80s. And then, you know what I mean, the 80s was the golden age with the real killers.
I think there's levels. I think it's like in basketball, like you had those teams in the 80s and the 90s, and then you had the more skilled, more player efficiency guys now. So yeah, I think it's different. I think I would love to see Terrence Crawford or Earl Spence fight like a Sugar Ray Leonard. Like
that's what I was gonna say for Floyd. I don't think Floyd would have been able to keep him off him.
I don't, but I think he would have adjusted with the times because he stopped being a power puncher. There was a time when Floyd Mayweather was a power puncher.
Yeah, but he was keep on breaking his hands.
So I think his skill set and his precision is hard to overcome. Like even with the broken hand, Pacquiao couldn't walk through him. Canelo couldn't walk through him. Nobody's really been able to walk through him. So he obviously is hitting you hard enough to stop people. And he was accurate enough, even obviously fighting McGregor later in his career, but a much bigger man. He showed he has the ability. So I think Floyd was smart enough to adjust to whatever. Even if Pacquiao would have caught him had they fought earlier, I think Floyd's mind and skill set would have allowed him to overcome it. But I might be partial.
Because I just, you know what I mean? I just missed them days of everybody wanting to fight each other, man. And you know what I mean? I watched the ESPN Top Rank, and you'd be like, man, how did this guy get a professional fight? This guy's fighting. You know what I mean? Like, how is this legal? You know what I mean? It's like watching a slap box. You know what I mean? UFC, Dana's White slap box challenge where you just smack the man. Like, who's watching this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I ain't with that. Like, I saw the highlights early on, and I thought it was just like a gimmick. Mm-hmm. Like, the fact that has continued to be a thing is kind of weird to me. And I would never advise somebody taking part in that sport because that is going to be a lawsuit at some point.
Yeah, I think somebody's going to lose the hearing. But what's your thoughts about this Aaron Rodgers situation? Do you see him getting traded before the season?
I do. And let me be very clear to you and your audience. I can't stand Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is the most overhyped quarterback that has ever walked this planet. I think he has got more credit for less than anybody, and he has constantly underachieved and gotten passes for it.
I feel like he's still the MVPs too. He stole a couple MVPs.
He stole a couple MVPs. With that being said, Aaron Rodgers in New York with what they're doing with that young defense and that young team is dangerous. It reminds me of Peyton Manning going to Denver later in his career. I think Aaron is better than Peyton was at that time, but I think Denver's defense is better than the Jets are at that time. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good mix. I think that division is tough. I think Miami's still Miami, and they've got better. I definitely think, to your point or to the question, I think you need to get Aaron Rodgers in sooner than later because you got some defenses in that division.
Look, we at Gillette right now.
Hey, listen.
We never lacking on defense. We ain't never lacking on no D.
So if you are him with those new young receivers, you need timing. We have seen Aaron Rodgers be very hard on receivers. We saw Christian Watson was struggling for half a season last year until he wasn't, and then he went nuts. So for me, I think it's a big deal. I'm happy for the Jets. I also think it'll be very interesting to see Aaron Rodgers versus the New York media on a regular basis, especially if things don't go well. I can't wait to hear those sound clips and sound bites. Can't run the Pat McAfee show. But yeah, he's got some work to do, and that is not an easy situation to be in. Like, of all the divisions to go to, that reminds me of the AFC West last year, which turned out to be a lot worse than we thought. But then in the AFC East is no joke. Like, Buffalo is still Buffalo, and they've improved to a certain extent.
And thank you, Buffalo, for take Damian Harris off our hand. He can't catch a cold, so I appreciate that.
And then if they somehow can swing Derrick Henry, like, because they need somebody that can run the ball.
No, I don't think they're gonna be able to do that. I think they're gonna ask Tyson want something. They don't want something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But something got to happen, and so we'll kind of see. But no, I'm good for him. I do not love him around a bunch of young talent. I don't think he's a great leader. I don't think he's going to mentor Zach Wilson at all. He didn't do anything to help with Jordan Love.
No.
So I get it. It's a win now move. Would I have made it? No. I think there were better options, but we'll see what happens.
I definitely think it was better options out there. I'd rather draft a quarterback. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to get Aaron Rodgers for a 1-year rental and give up so much. You know what I mean? Like we said, man, I haven't seen Aaron Rodgers really play with dominance since probably 2010 when he won it.
It's been a while.
You know, he comes off like real nonchalant, like Joe Flacco at the Ravens. That's what, you know what I mean? He feels like, you know what I mean? Just real nonchalant. Oh, I throw a pick. Oh, well. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm really.
Yeah, I don't get the fit, like, off the field. On the field, they needed a quarterback. He was arguably the best quarterback available. They made a move, or they're going to make a move. Also, it all depends on what they have to give up. If the Packers give him away, which we've seen DeAndre Hopkins and a couple other, Amari Cooper, just get given away. If they give him away, cool. But if it's a Deshaun Watson kind of haul or some of those other bigger trades, then I don't know if that works. Because if you gut your team just to get them, what's the point?
Like, I feel like the only thing he had to do is, man, I take less. Just keep D. Adams here. That's all he had to do.
But he wasn't going to do that. And that's why Adams left before it even got to all that. He said, get me out of here. He knows who Aaron Rodgers is.
That's why he only got one ring. You know what I mean? You got it. You look. I hate to say this, man, about the man right there on the left, Tom Brady, TB12.
Talk about him.
You know what I mean? When Bill was asking, man, you know what I mean? Let's build a team. Let's build a team. I'm gonna take the back end. I'm already making money off the sponsorships and all that. I'll do a team friendly deal. That's what it takes to win. You know what I mean? That's what it takes to win championships, man. At the end of the day, you got to take less, man. Look what you call something.
Necessarily, Patty Mahomes. It's a team friendly deal, but he ain't necessarily taking less, and they want a ring.
I'm saying
Tom Brady is the anomaly, and Tom Brady's amazing. But
you know, what I mean, Kelsey's not getting paid what he need to get paid.
Travis,
yeah,
but that's because unfortunately that's position.
I'm saying this though, he could have got more money elsewhere, but you need a couple of your stars to take less. You know what I mean? You got to have your stars to take less.
I think it depends at the position. Even the Rams didn't take. Matt Stafford didn't take less when they won 2 years ago. Like, all them people was getting paid top dollar. Now they've had to renegotiate and cut and trade people.
That's
but in the moment, if you go all in, you got to go all in. So,
but I'm saying this: if you want to repeat, it's got to be players that are your superstars to take less. If you want to keep on repeating, you refers, put some new rookies in there, some other veterans. You got to take You got to take team-friendly deals if you want to keep on repeating, not wait another 5 years, another 2 years to get back to the thing. You understand what I mean? It's not like
in the NFL, yeah, I would agree a little bit more in the NFL because they have.
It's not like you're Georgia and you're in college and you know what I mean, you got the hottest recruits coming in. So there's a difference on that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I don't think Aaron Rodgers really got that I don't give a fuck attitude, and that's what his biggest problem is. He's a great regular season quarterback.
We can agree on that. We definitely can agree on that.
But what are some other teams that you like their moves in the NFL with the early free agent signing?
There's been a couple. I like what I like what Dallas has done. I hate to say it. Gilmore is big time. Brandon Cooks can be big time. Also, both are towards the end of their career, and Dallas has been kind of grabbing some of those guys, the Randy Gregory, some of the guys towards the tail end of their careers. Mm-hmm. Randall Cobb, they tried. Some hit, some not. So I think on paper it looks good. Releasing Zeke right now, I think they only have Tony Pollard under contract. I don't like.
They got Randall Jones. They just picked Randall Jones.
Ronald Jones.
Ronald Jones. Yeah.
I don't. That don't do nothing for me. That he's Zeke, just maybe cheaper. Like I don't think he's a significant upgrade by any stretch. Miami bringing back their running backs, making the trade for Ramsey with Hill and Waddle, and they. That was Jacksonville. Jacksonville looks good with what they've done, and we forget they traded for Calvin Ridley, so Calvin Ridley's in their building as well. I like what they did. The NFC East, I'm a Washington fan. I do not like losing Taylor Heineke. I do not believe Sam Howell is ready, and I think we're a quarterback away.
Do you think I'm sorry to say this, man, but I feel like Jacoby Brissett's going to beat him out in training camp.
If Jacoby Brissett beats out Sam Howell, then we failed this offseason. Because you should not go into the season with Jacoby Brissett as your starter. And if Jacoby Brissett can be your starter, that means you don't have a quarterback, which means you still missed the boat.
Yeah, man. I seen Sam Howell a little bit in college. I was not really impressed.
I saw a Mel Kiper report today that said if he was in this year's draft, he'd be like the 5th quarterback selected in like the 2nd round.
That's not good.
That doesn't say a lot to me. So,
but if you know what I mean, if y'all can really, sorry to say, run the ball and play some play action pass with him, maybe.
Yeah, and it's going to be a ton of pressure on I like our skill positions. We had Curtis Samuel was healthy majority of the year for the first time ever. Jahan Dotson was out a lot. Hopefully we can get him back. Another, just kind of Swiss Army knife, speedy guy. And then, Terry's definitely, he's solidified himself as the number one. Robinson coming back off being shot. He got better and better throughout the year. Gibson fixed a lot of his fumbling issues. So the talent is there. I
just don't worry about the tight end position with y'all, though.
I was about to say that. That isn't Logan Thomas when healthy, he can ball, but he just can't stay healthy, I think, at this point in his career. Darren Waller going to the Giants was a great pickup for him. So the NFC East is just tough, man. I like what the Giants have done. They paid Danny. I guess you had to.
That's a good friendly deal too.
$40 million. I like Jimmy better at 30 versus Danny at 40, but Danny's way younger. So you can't expect for him to probably take that less amount.
That's the Patriots of the West, though, man. That's the Patriots of the West.
Yeah.
He took everybody. He took old Philip Dorsett. You took Jacoby Myers. Who else is on it? Jimmy G. Got Chandler Jones. Like that's Jared Stidham just finally left.
You're trying to recreate a team, but he's not a good coach. And he lost Derek Carr's job, as far as I'm concerned. Like,
I don't think Derek Carr's so special himself, man.
I don't think Josh McDaniels helped. I saw what Sean McVay did to Baker Mayfield, and now he's a starter.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought he was dead going to LA. Most people.
And I love that. I love that Baker. I like that Baker move too.
I don't. He should have stayed in LA. Be a backup.
Ooh.
That system environment, he is not. That Tampa team is not going to be good this year, in my opinion. Ronald Jones is gone. Leonard Fournette is gone. A number of the veteran 1-year guys that were there with Brady are gone. Like, I don't think the offensive line is that great. And
you got some young pieces on that line, though.
Okay. I don't know. You got a chance to go start. You take it, but I don't like the fit at this point. And you coming behind that guy. Yeah, you ain't him by any stretch.
So do you see down the belt line, you know what I mean, the beltway, do you see them fixing this situation with Lamar?
No.
I don't see it either.
I think it's broke. I think it's borderline disrespectful, the tag they put on him. I think he knows that. I am not going to say that it is a concerted effort to not do business with him because he is trying to set a trend by representing himself and reset the market. And I believe the owners collectively are pushing back against that. But no, I think the bridge has been burned. I think Baltimore is in trouble. I believe the firing of the strength coach and the issues, the GM, Ozzie Newsome ain't there no more. And
it's tearing it up.
So I think that franchise is in trouble. I think it's in another competitive division. I think Pittsburgh can take a step forward since he's not going nowhere, and I think Cleveland will be better. So
I like the Cincy too. A lot of people not talking about Cincinnati right now. You know, I know Joe Nix is in trouble right now, allegedly. You know what I mean, in trouble. But I like that tackle position. You got to upgrade on the tackle position. You got a Super Bowl tackle, right tackle, and Orlando Brown Jr. You know what I mean? You definitely need it because at time, man, people was getting their hands on Joe Burrow at will with only like 2 or 3. You know what I mean?
There's still some work to be done on that line, though.
Yeah, of course, but you got the. I want to know where's Higgins is going. Where do you think Higgins going? You think they're gonna re-sign him?
They should. If anybody I let go, I let Boyd go. Or I would move Boyd. I would keep Higgins and Chase. I think they figure out a way to get it done, but he ain't gonna be cheap. Christian Kirk messed it up.
Christian Kirk, you know what I mean? I've said this on this program right now, you know what I mean, in prior episodes. Christian Kirk balled out, man. Like Dougie P, you know what I mean, put the players in the right position. You look at ET. The year he got hurt to this year, the play calling, you're not giving him too many touches, going through the tackles, you put him out wide, you put him in the slot. That's how you got to do with him. You know what I mean? You can't expect him to get 20 carries as a traditional running back. He's not that kind of guy.
Yeah, we agree. I can go with that.
But I think Jacksonville next year is going to be a tough out. You know what I mean? I think they could easily take that division, the AFC South.
What do you think about the NFC West? Who do you think wins that division next year? Do the Rams turn it around? Can Seattle do it again? Is San Fran going to figure it out?
You know what I mean? I worry about the secondary for the 49ers. You lose Jimmy Ward. You know what I mean? People can say what you want about him. You know what I mean? He had that Marcus Peter game to him. You know what I mean? Sometimes he drop him, sometimes he misses. But you know what I mean? He still was a solid corner. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of young unanswered questions about their secondary now. You got the fake Palomalo back there, but come on, man.
I like him. He all right though.
You know, I mean, he's not the greatest in coverage, but
I mean,
you got good solid linebacker play. You have, you know what I mean, you got Hargrave, I think is his name. Hargrave from the Eagles. I think that was a great move. You know what I mean, adding some extra depth on that defensive line. But I like Seattle, man. I like Seattle. I feel like they're only missing a few more pieces.
Get paid, Gino. Get paid.
Like he's a great story, man. I remember when he got his jaw broken with the Jets. You know what I mean? He sat on the bench for all that time. You know what I mean? He balled out last year.
He made the most of an opportunity.
But yeah, I think it's probably gonna be Seattle, man. Because I don't know who Sam Darnold is, man. You got to play Sam Darnold, or you gonna play Trey Lance?
Yeah,
you gonna play Trey Lance?
Purdy or Nance? Darnold's not the answer.
Ah, man, I see Trey Lance too, man. Like
I don't think he's it yet either. Not in that same system. Now, if they get everybody back healthy and he plays in the system throughout the year, there's going to be growing pains. I think he can potentially be the quarterback of the future. But Sam Darnold is nothing. Sam Darnold is an accident waiting to happen, a mistake. We saw what he did in Carolina. We did see what Sean McVay was able to do with Baker. So maybe Kyle Shanahan think he can do the same thing with Sam Darnold. I don't know, but I wouldn't try it. If you can't figure it out with Trey Lance or Brock Purdy, then pack it up. But Sam Darnold ain't it for me.
But I've been saying this too, man. A lot of people think I'm an alien or something. But I think that Detroit team's gonna make the playoff next year.
I said it last year. I said I liked Detroit last year. I wasn't sure about Jared Goff, but I like the coach. I like that Jamal Williams. I think he fits in New Orleans, but I did like him in Detroit. But now they're right there. I think the Packers will take a step back. The Vikings will take a step back, even though I never trust the Vikings because they're a quarterback. The Bears have looked great. That was a team we haven't talked about. I like a lot of their moves.
They got no line, too. We talked about this. We don't got no line.
They traded out of that one spot. I think they can plug and play some people in that offensive line. You can draft, you can sign. You can't fix it, but I think you can take some big strides, and they've got him some help on the outside. I like DJ Moore. I like moving out of the one spot, and I like Justin Fields.
So you cool with DJ Moore and Claypool?
I don't love it, but I like it better than what he had last year. I definitely think it's a significant upgrade, and I think in that division, that might be the best duo.
I think Myers. I think they should get Myers out of Notre Dame, the tight end coming out from Notre Dame. I think that'd be a good fit. Or you can't go wrong with Washington coming out of Georgia. He's a good blocking tight end. He's got some good solid tight ends coming out this year, and also the offensive line. So you can build on the offensive line. But I like their defense. You get Edmonds. I think Buffalo dropped the ball on that.
I got to tell you, and I mentioned them earlier, I'm not sure what they're doing. Stephon Diggs didn't sound super excited this offseason. Josh Allen got to show us something. And they have not addressed the running back position, in my opinion. And you need more balance.
They throw it too much. And he thinks he's Cam Newton. I think this is going to end bad for him. I think he's going to end up like Tua eventually. If he keep on running the ball like that.
So I think we saw with Drew Brees, you figured out you got to run the ball. We've seen it. You got to be able to run the ball. So maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe they will figure it out. But no, I definitely think Detroit is on the rise. And speaking of, we just talked about running backs, losing Williams. I think that's a big loss. They have went through quite a few. Kerryon Johnson and some others came through there, and you had one and you let them leave. So I hope you're happy with what you got in house.
I think they're doing good. There's so many running backs coming out this year. You got Bijan Robinson, you got Chase Brown. It's a lot. Blake Corum. It's a lot of solid running backs coming out this year. So you can always draft it, man.
Okay. We're gonna see. I don't disagree, but when you have something that works and you let it go,
you can't keep over. That's the position you can't overpay for no more. You can't take a chance on.
I think San Francisco would disagree. I think they made that trade for Christian McCaffrey and it changed their season, even at that ticket.
But also, Christian McCaffrey was sitting on the bench for a long while, man. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
It's like a car you sit for a little bit. You're like, man, the engine light on. I'm gonna fix it. But you know what I mean? Let me give it a little break. You know what I mean? It's been sitting for a little bit.
Yeah. And if you can get away with not paying them like Pacheco, good, but
ooh.
Every team needs one. Nobody want to pay him, but you ain't winning too many rings without a good running back.
Nah, you ain't. You're not doing that. But you know what I mean? I just think it's a game of you gotta cut ties when you get up there in the age, and it is what it is. But what else I was about to say? Yeah, I think the Bears just need a couple more pieces, and that's about it, man. Let's get some.
They're not there yet. I think 17-game season, they can win 8, maybe 9 games. I would make sense if you overachieve 10 and 7. I think it's a great season. But yeah, they're not. I don't think they're there yet.
I like James Houston too. Let me say that I like James Houston. What he did at the end of the season. I think that pass rush is going to be way better. You get CJ. What's the guy's name? CJ Gardner Johnson.
He's good.
You know what I mean. You get that for a great deal. $8 million for 1 year. People's mad about him taking the chance, but you got to bet on yourself. You know what I mean. You're going to sit on the bench because Maddox out there or somebody else. You might as well get the playing time.
Yeah.
But just getting some.
Aiden Hutchinson just going to get a little bit better.
Oh,
I think he'll take another leap as long as he can stay healthy. Edge rush has been dropping, man. We lose 1 or 2 every year, some of the elites. I'm glad Chase Young got his situation out the way. He better figure out what he's going to do with his career because it's deep on that D-line in Washington. And we ain't about to overpay because we just made Payne of riches. We paid Jonathan Allen last year.
You paid a lot of people.
So the money
type. Albert Hines work?
That was 20 years ago. Ain't nobody.
Bruce Smith.
Nobody remember that.
Bruce Smith.
He robbed us. Them days though, we tried.
Deion Sanders.
It's better than an owner not spending money. I tell you that.
Yeah,
much rather my owner spend and fail than not spend at all. And we tried. We tried to bring in McNabb. I couldn't stand McNabb, but we tried that way and it didn't work. So now we tried a new way. We've drafted well. Most of our young talent we've all drafted.
But I'm sorry to say this, man, but I'm a part-time Laker fan. Okay. What is going on with AD? Do you think he needs to see, a third bitch or something? Because some days he plays like Tarzan, and some days he plays like Jane. Like I don't know what's going on with him.
In my opinion, that's who he is. He's not self-motivated. And I don't think he can play at a high level consistently because that's the injury. I don't think he's.
So you think that's the back of his head? You think that's the back of his head?
100%. It has to be. We think it. You think if the fans are worried every time he hit the ground, if he's gonna get up, that's not playing in his head? 100%. And so I think he's supremely talented when motivated, but I don't think I have never really seen the consistency out of him. Even in New Orleans, he put up consistent numbers, but it wasn't winning basketball. It wasn't difference making basketball. So I think he's still the same guy. He's got more refined, but I don't think his outside shooting has taken the leap it needed to take for his skill set and talent level. I don't think he dominates games, game in and game out like Embiid does, like others have. And he was supposed to be in that tier, and he just didn't live up. But I think he's supremely talented, but I just don't think he's one of them. Just like DeAndre Ayton. I think DeAndre Ayton has a lot of talent, but I don't think he's a killer.
And the finals showed that, man. Finals showed that.
I felt that way in college. When I saw him in Arizona and they went out, I think in the first or second round, I just said, nah, he's not one of them.
I say the same thing about Jabari Parker.
Nah, see, I'd like Jabari Parker as an offensive dog. Offensively, he's a killer. Now, if you want him to play defense, no, not at all. You hire somewhere else. But as a scorer, he was a go-getter.
What about
I could see similar temperaments as I'm kind of thinking about. I can see that.
What about this thing of what I was about to say? Jordan Poole, the Warriors. Do you see them getting out the first round this year? That's what I was about to go.
Without Andrew Wiggins, I think is really tough. However, and I've said this on ASAP show a couple times, the West is deep, but it is light in experience. Everybody at the top ain't done nothing. Denver ain't done nothing. Sacramento ain't done nothing. Memphis talks a ton, but they ain't done nothing.
Nah.
Dallas hasn't done anything. Phoenix got to the finals but came up short. So, yeah, in theory, all those teams might be better than Golden State. But in a 7-game series in the playoffs and getting them out of there, I think is going to be tough. Now, they suck on the road. They're like atrocious this year, but they're amazing at home.
I'm sorry to say, I hate to jump on the bandwagon. I think if they go 7, let's say hypothetically, they go 7 with or go against the Kings or somebody, when them young teams with that speed, Golden State is not running no more. They playing a lot of slow sets. They're not a running team no more.
Yeah, but you got to be able to execute down the stretch, and that's where it's tricky. Does De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis and Keegan Murray know how to execute at that level down the stretch, especially when you're talking closeout games? Mm-hmm. When you got to put a team like Golden State away, a team like the Clippers away, that's different.
And I think Steph, I think Steve Kerr is an overrated coach, man. I really do, man.
What do you mean? Like, do you think so? Obviously, I think that Mark Jackson doesn't get the credit he deserves, right? Like, I think we can all agree with that. But I have come around that Steve Kerr's offensive prowess and his ability to manage egos, like he had to figure out how to handle that Draymond Jordan Poole situation this summer. And by all accounts, they handled it well. Whatever's going on with Andrew Wiggins right now, he's had to lead that team and keep that team together with Steph out, with Klay out, with Wiggins out, with Draymond, in his career kind of declining, people leaving, trading Wiseman. He's had to manage a lot. Kevin Durant and that saga. So I give him a lot more credit than I used to. I think he has a tough job. Obviously, Steph and Klay make it a lot easier, but man, the expectation of championship or bust every year is a lot. And he's embraced it and he's seemingly handled it well. So I don't know. I give Steve a little more credit than I used to.
Do you think any great mind could go in there and win a championship with the same tools?
No. I think
let me say this.
I don't think Doc Rivers wins the championship with that team. I think Eric Spoelstra could. I think Ty Lue would.
Let's say you throw Pop on that. You don't think Pop could take that to a championship?
I don't know if Pop is the right personality for that group, but Steve Kerr obviously comes from the Popovich tree. So in theory, I would, believe that if the student can figure it out, the teacher would as well. But I don't know that he would be the right personality and demeanor for that team. I think Golden State is like Seattle. They need a Pete Carroll, not a Bill Parcells. And I think a Bill Parcells crushes them versus letting them be free. Mark Jackson empowered them. Steve Kerr empowered them. I don't know if Popovich would empower them in my experience. He's more of a system guy.
Do you see Zion Williamson playing anytime this year?
No. There's no point. Their season's over. And I said before the year I would have traded him. Like his value is high. His value is high, but this is who he is. This is who you paid. This guy who's going to get hurt. He's only going to get older, and his body's just going to it's going to be harder to recover. Like,
I think he got to lose weight. I think he's going to have to get at least to 230, 220 if he want to play.
Good luck. And if he does that, then what is he? His major skill set is his strength, his ability to move people out the way and get offensive rebounds. If you lose your strength, you lose. It ain't like he shoots well. It ain't like
he
he's
got an ugly
creating off the dribble.
He got some ugly jumper.
it's not like he can break you down with his handle. So if he loses the weight, you in trouble.
Yeah, before we get out of here, man, I always say this, man. Golden State need Kevin Durant, man. And Kevin Durant is not a captain. He's a passenger. He can't lead a team.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. That to me is the wild card in Phoenix, because no, I don't think they've been proven, but that man different. And when he's right,
you got to not brush his hair though.
Nobody
can't brush his hair.
He can't beat a brush, and can't nobody beat him. So that is a wild card. That is a wild card. Phoenix has to stay healthy because they have no bench. And so if they lose any of their starters, they're in trouble. And all of their starters have injuries history. Devin Booker, stay nicked. Chris Paul, we know Chris Paul. And Kevin Durant, at this point, we have to admit, Kevin Durant is injury prone.
Yeah, and that's why I hate the trade they made, because you send a Mikal Bridges who stays healthy. And he can, hit jumpers. He's a solid, he's a 3D guy.
He's not the same talent, but he's looked good. Now that he's had the opportunity to really be him, he looks like he might be a number one. He looks like a max player. Yeah. So respect to him for stepping up.
And the same thing I feel about Golden State. They're missing that big. Looney's not a legit big. Draymond's not a legit big. Green is okay. But you missing a big, man. And the young boy had some upside. I think they gave up on him too quick.
I don't think they got enough trade value back from him, but I think he was who he was.
You just think he's lazy?
I don't want to put lazy on him, but I never saw it. I went back. That draft class was weak. And so I can't even fault them, because the draft class it's a weak draft class. So
what about LaMelo? Would you trade LaMelo right now?
No, he's all Charlotte got. I think, unfortunately, I hope he don't got the same kind of genetics as his brother, because his brother don't seem like he's gonna be back anytime soon. But
I'm bringing that Bulls team up too, man. I know DeRozan's about to be a free agent. Zach LaVine. Oh my God, Zach LaVine.
They're nothing. Not that they're nothing, but they're not winners. They're not difference makers. They're number twos. LaVine is a 3 at best. DeRozan might be a 2, but they're not ones. They're complementary players.
What is your how many years you think out of the 3-headed monster of Golden State? How many more years do you see them?
1
as starters.
And I said they should have traded Clay last year.
Oh man, they should have been did that. They could have got something
I
crazy.
would have traded Clay and Draymond for LeBron.
That'd been sick.
Clay, Draymond, draft pick, whatever you needed outside of Curry and Poole, I'd have gave up to go get LeBron.
That shit would have been crazy. But before we get out of here, let the people know all your information, social media wise, and what you got coming up.
Yeah. First, appreciate you. This is a little overdue. He been trying to get me on. It's been busy. My wife is in New Orleans right now, so I got the 4 kids upstairs. My daughter was holding me down tonight. But yeah, we got Mondays at noon. We drop our YouTube and the Bond Chronicles everywhere. Mondays at noon. We get into all of it. My focus this year has been Black culture. We got to bridge the gap between Black men and Black women. I'm on social media every day. The divide is too great. We need each other. But we got to effectively communicate, and we got to be accountable. So we're getting into different ways that we can do that. We obviously covered the topical stuff. 6ix9ine getting beat up. We'll definitely have some stuff on that coming out here shortly. And then from a sports standpoint, if you like the takes, Mondays and Thursdays at 9:00 live on Facebook and YouTube on ASAP Network. Also, there's the ASAP app so you can watch anywhere you go. And that's just where I'm at, man. I love podcasts. I love talking trash. I love engaging, debating people. I appreciate you. You come on our show and you keep us going. You got some hot takes. We definitely disagree on some things, but definitely appreciate you, man, and everything you're doing over here. So I appreciate the invite.
All right. Thank you for coming on. And this has been a late night edition of Midday Sports, and we're out. Hey, welcome back to Rod's Uncensored Podcast. Make sure you hit that like button.